And then she says here, Marin was originally envisioned as pansexual by the team at Respawn. So she's saying that the team at Respawn envisioned this character like that. What's interesting is that no one who played the game would have realized that.
Yeah,
so like
because it's almost like when you're at war, it doesn't matter who you have sex with because you're like killing things and trying not to get killed. Isn't it weird how that just has no place on the battlefield? Huh?
the whole idea of like pansexual is really bizarre to me too, because it's like Lando Calrissian. He's like doing it with a droid, right? It's like, what is happening? What is going on here? So like, I don't know what they're saying here. I did read another article that says she only like in this book that Sam Maggs wrote. That's like a tie-in, like it's an in between Survivor and Fallen or Fallen Order and Survivor. Is that she has like a lesbian relationship with another female character. So it's like, why are you calling her pansexual then if she's just a lesbian? It's weird. But anyways, Sam Maggs goes on and says, so that was an established thing when I came on to writing this book. Something that the Respawn team wanted to explore with this book and wanted to establish with this book was Marin's pansexuality so that it would be clear, canonical, and also is something that the book gives us a unique opportunity to explore. Like, who literally sets out writing a Star Wars book to explore a Night Sisters character's pansexuality? Like, what is happening over at
John?
Lucasfilm and Disney? I already like we already know this, but like, we're getting ahead here. Like, who's doing this? Like, who's interested in this kind of Star Wars content outside of Tumblr people that have now like migrated to Twitter, but are now seemingly, I think, have been backbenched on Twitter since Elon has taken over. I will say their voices are not as megaphoned as they had been. But who does this? Like, who's thinking that this is like people want to read this, buy this, are interested in this? No. This is just another example that Disney does not care about good storytelling. They do not care about Star Wars. They do not care about their act, like even new characters like this character that they're making. All they care about is pushing this sexual orientation, sexual identity agenda, and that is what they're doing. And this is another example of it. I mean, more and more and more examples of this every single day, and this is just another one. What do you think, Cider?
I have a truck going by at the moment. Bayona has a good statement here.
He says, remember, Lucasfilm Writers Room have a board. Wow. Remember, Lucasfilm Writers Room have a broad show, a list of not pro wars, dinosaurs, diversity. Yeah, that was the High Republic stuff, but and that's definitely in the High Republic video, and that was in the High Republic's writers room at Lucasfilm Ranch. But I think that can also be applied to literally everything in Lucasfilm with Star Wars. Great point, Bayona Rad. Again, that is what they are injecting into the story. Is this agenda? What did you call it earlier? The agenda.
Agenda fatigue.
Agenda fatigue. And I'm just sick of this stuff. I mean, it's just it's not natural. It's frankly, it's repulsive, and no one wants to read about a Night Sisters pansexuality in a novel that's supposed to tie in this, like supposed to connect the story between Fallen Order and Survivor.
So this is the problem we're at. Is Bukowski wrote a poem. Charles Bukowski is an American poet. He wrote a poem called "The Genius of the Crowd," and it talks about how if they're unable to create art, so they will hate yours, and they are incapable of love, so they will find yours incomplete, and they will hate you, and their hatred will be the most perfect thing about them. And so he talks about this and that kind of thing, and that's who's writing this.
It's very Tolkien-esque.
It's people. Bukowski, he's a very miserable man. Was a very miserable, horribly tortured man. Just had a miserable life. But the way he expressed angst on the level of the just average American, just really, it captures it in a way that just never has been replicated. But that's what you're seeing here, is a perfect hatred of what they were like modeled bringing up with. mom and dad, healthy relationships, and being expressive with their emotions, having an individual identity that's not dependent on keywords, buzzwords, and hashtags. They don't. This is why they write this way, is because they've never known love, the capital L kind, divine kind of love. They've
Right.
never known it. And that's why they write this way, because they crave it. They know it's out there, but they hate it with a passion because of whatever happened to them during their childhood that turned them off to all of this. And that's what it is. It's a perfect hatred of something they love.
Yeah, I think that I think that also kind of dovetails nicely with my theory, is that they're so um, focused on the wokeness that they can't write anything outside of it, and it prevents them from doing that. I think that that pairs really well with that. So let's go on here though. She says, not a lot of time in video games to do romance with extraneous characters. I don't know, like there's plenty of that. Like, did you watch Mass Effect? Stop it. Did you like all the Bioware games have that? Um, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, they all have that stuff. Like, we got stuff going on, and also again the games being
Like
from
even
Cal's
Team
perspective.
Fortress, right? Like Heavy, the medic, scout, sniper, all of them have distinct backstories even for just being characters you buy funny hats for that blow each other up. I don't understand this. It's so bizarre to have people who maybe played one arcade game in their life pass judgment over everything everywhere related to that.
Yeah, there's plenty of side characters that have romantic exploration in video games.
Mhm.
And also, again, the games being from Cal's perspective, this was a really unique opportunity to get Marin's thoughts and establish the way she feels about people in a really intimate way. And then, so this is what Cider was pointing out earlier. I guess the Popverse person says there are really romantic video games, but Fallen Order isn't about that. So like they're even pointing out that there's romantic video games
In
that do
bold
more of this
font.
stuff. Yeah. Well, no, that's the differentiation between the Popverse writer and the and Sam Maggs.
Oh, I know, but they're not
Oh,
disguising that statement in regular font. That's
oh, right.
bold. That is
Yeah.
we want the reader to notice that Fallen Order has nothing to do with romance.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how we do it on Bounding too. Like we bold our whoever's doing the interview. We bold their comment or their question, and then the writer or the interviewee is the person whose text is normal. But we also make it clear that like that is ours. So like we'll say Bounding into Comics, Paul, if it's Paul Hare writing, if it's me, John Trent, BIC, etc., and then colon for each one. So you like
Right.
you know who's doing it, and then we literally say like Chuck Dixon, like, and it'll be like Dixon or Chuck, colon for each question, to make it very clear that like that's how it's going, because again it can be confusing sometimes. But so I don't think there's I mean I don't think there's I don't want to read into that. I think that's just kind of a how they've what's the word that to describe the style that they're using on their website. I don't think that's just trying to tell you in bold that but again, that's not the point that she was making anyway. She was saying that you can't do romance stories for side characters, and you can. Like, it's definitely possible. Like, if you watch, I want to say, like, if you played SWOTOR, there's some. I feel like there's some like romance angles with the characters that are like your um, supports. You can do like there's some romance stuff that you can do with them. Obviously, it's not like graphic or intimate or like super graphic or anything like that, but there is definitely like romance stuff that you can do. Fire Emblem like clearly lets you do romance angles with characters and stuff, and it can be with all of the different characters. So I'm not sure if I agree with that either. I mean, there's lots of games that do that, so that's just utterly ridiculous to make that claim. But anyway, she says, yeah, Fallen Order isn't Dream Daddy. You know what I mean? I've never even heard of this game.
It's a video game.
I
It's like
assume.
a himbo video game. It's about romance. One of those click and play romance games.
Oh, so it's like a visual novel.
A little more stylized.
Okay. Is it like whatever that company did that went bankrupt, where they did they had like the Batman games? They had like Batman.
No, it's really it's really, it feels like it belongs on a phone, a mobile game.
Oh, okay.
It's really closer to that.
It's just hard to find time in a AAA action-focused video game for the side stories of romances of side characters. So this was the moment to do that. Absolutely not. Mass Effect proves that wrong. BioWare, Dragon Age proves that wrong. Easy examples to bring up to counter that. And then Sam says, I am a queer author. It's really important for me to tell queer stories and to have that representation for people who might be fans like myself of Star Wars. So this was an established thing about her. I just really had the opportunity from Lucasfilm and the Respawn team to make it clear and canonical. And then the Popverse guy says, that's so cool. So you were like, I want to write the Marin book. And they said, great. Also, she's a pansexual. And Sam said, confirms it, saying totally. And I was like, this is dope. This is the best thing that could possibly happen to me. Like, this is just super cringe. Like, no, that's not like, I pity her saying that that's the best thing that could happen to her, writing a book about a pansexual.
Here we go.
It's pretty sad.